We're good? All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Happy Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. All that good stuff that we normally do. Appreciate y'all taking the time out to check us out. And hopefully everyone had a great week. If not, it's the refresh, the reset, the restart. Excuse me, all of that. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and anything that I forgot to do that you know to do, please do it. And I appreciate all the support so far. So we're going to get into it. Today's lesson is going to be about the 12 tribe chart. Now, I know some people are familiar with it, some people are not. So just a quick history on it. The 12 tribe chart is a chart that supposedly tells you who each one of the 12 chosen Israelite tribes are today. Now, this is not a biblical based chart by no means, but this is a chart that people who follow the Bible and know that they are Israel, they know that they know they're Israel, they know that it's 12 tribes. And these 12 tribes are the same ones that's sealed. So a lot of times you don't hear about Dan on there. We're basing it off of Revelations 7, those 12 tribes. Now, this chart came about years ago, and most of the Israelite camps, as some people call Hebrew Israelite, whatever you want to call it, most of the people that believe they are Israelites, they associate with some type of camp, church, or anything like any other religious sect in the world, even though we know that being an Israelite is not a religion. Now, with that being said, we know the Bible mentions all these different names all throughout the Bible. You hear Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon, Zebulun, Gad, Reuben, Asher, Issachar, and Naphtali. And you hear about Dan from time to time. Now, in today's time, what they would like for you to believe is that the North American blacks are the tribe of Judah. Now, I got the tribe pulled up because I don't remember it like I used to because I don't believe this anymore. But just to give you an understanding of what's going on, the blacks in the West Indies are Benjamin, which would be your Jamaicans. The Haitians would be the tribe of Levi, the Puerto Ricans, Ephraim, Cubans, Manasseh, Dominicans, Simeon. Guatemala to Panama, or also known as the Mayans, would be Zebulun. Native American Indian, Gad. Seminole Indian, Reuben. That's one of the most funniest things to me about this whole thing because the Native American Indian are considered North Americans because they are an American. But the Seminole Indians, which would be located in Florida, according to most teachings, are the tribe of Reuben, but that's North America too. So you got two American Indians that one is considered American. I don't know. We'll get to that. You got Colombia to Uruguay, which is the Incas, or the tribe of Asher. Mexicans, or the Aztecs, which would be considered the tribe of Issachar. And Argentina and Chile would be Naphtali. Now, and then they'll say, well, they didn't used to teach this, but now they have no choice. According to Isaiah 11, you have some Israelites scattered throughout Africa, but we're not going to really put them on the chart until current day. When I came into the truth about 15 years ago, they never said that. They would never put that on there, but people have beat this chart up so bad that they had no choice but to try to do something. Now, where does this come from? When I say it's not biblical based, I'm pretty sure you've never read in the Bible. I missed something. No. I'm pretty sure you never read in the Bible any of these names that I just named. Not the names for the tribes, but you've never seen American blacks, West Indian blacks, Haitians, or Puerto Ricans in the Bible. Those are terms we go by today. So how are they using the Bible to justify the chart? We'll look at some of that. And say some because most of the justification does not come from the Bible. The guy that is responsible for this chart His name was, I believe, Ariah. And just like Martin Luther, he had a dream. I'm serious. He had a dream. He had a dream, and I think in the dream, the Most High, by way of an angel maybe, came and told him all of these things that are on the chart. So this same guy also is responsible for a false prophecy. I believe that's the same guy. I say believe that way. If I'm wrong, I'm not putting that on him, but I want to, about 90% sure. A false prophecy that was supposed to take place year 2000, I believe it was. The world was supposed to come to the end. And, you know, a lot of people was out there preaching and teaching that. Then they had a 2000 came and everybody was still alive and breathing and doing everything they was doing in 1999. So nothing happened different. So they said, well, we'll remix the prophecy and change it up so that he's not looked at as a false prophet. That's cool. Not really here to discuss Ariah. I'm just saying this is where the chart comes from. Now, a lot of the people on this chart do not fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But the curses of Deuteronomy 28, some of them do, but a lot of them don't. And it gets kind of crazy and people want to argue, but just remember, the curses that people use to teach that the Israelites are the people of today, they usually get it out of Deuteronomy 28, starting after verse 15. And I'm not saying every single curse has to apply to every single person, but at least as a whole, it should apply. It should apply, and we're gonna see if we read through those curses and look at these people today. Most of them they do not apply to, especially as a whole. So, just getting everything out of the way before we get actually into it. All right, so I'm gonna read. I know I normally don't read from the Apocrypha. For anybody that's not familiar with that, the Apocrypha is supposedly the lost, or at least some of the lost books of the Bible. The Bible does mention other books. So I won't ignorantly sit here and tell you that the 66 that you see in the King James is it. However, I will tell you that I don't believe God makes mistakes, and he told you that he would continue to talk to you in every place that you went, in every language, and we know he talks to us through the word. So whatever word we have is, I feel like, is what he wanted us to have. Now that's just me personally. But I do feel like the Apocrypha could be a good history book because it does have valid history in it. And it does have some things in it that doesn't line up with the Bible, but I don't view it as spiritually inspired, which is why I don't teach from it on this channel. However, today, I'm not going to teach from it. I'm going to kind of teach against it, but not the whole thing. I'm only focusing on the book of Esdras, 2nd Esdras to be exact. So we're going to go to 2nd Esdras 7 and 26. And hold on. So I want you to pay attention to everything we're hearing in 2nd Esdras. For those that decide that they want to deal with the Apocrypha, and I'm not telling you not to. I just would tell you, you probably wouldn't want to deal with 2nd Esdras. And I don't believe originally it was a part of the Septuagint whenever it came about. So just things to keep in mind. So we're going to read 2nd Esdras 7 and 26 through 30. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Behold, the time shall come that these tokens which I have told thee shall come to pass, and the bride shall appear, and she coming forth shall be seen, that now is withdrawn from the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And whosoever is delivered from the foresaid evils shall see my wonders. For my son...
Oh, right there. Now we get ready to really get into what we came here, but we like to read a couple verses before. Just a little bit louder, but you're good. So he's telling you what's going on. He says you're going to see my wonders. Whoever is delivered from these evils shall see my wonders. Now let's get into verse 28.
For my son Jesus shall be revealed.
Hold on, my son who?
Jesus.
This ain't the New Testament though, is it? This is the Apocrypha in which the book of Esdras was put together before Christ came on the scene based on the research or the history of the Apocrypha that I've seen. I've never seen nobody use the Apocrypha for stuff after Christ came. And when you go through it, you see, okay, so the Apocrypha is before the New Testament and kind kind of after. I don't want to say after the old because it does occur. Certain parts of it occur during the time period of the Old Testament. So we'll say after the laws, but during the prophets leading up into the New Testament is kind of somewhere where you will find the time frame for Second Esdras or anything in the Apocrypha. I'm just trying to figure out how Esdras knew that his name would be Jesus, because that came after, right? So just pointing something out already. It's a little, I don't know. Start it over, verse 28.
For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
So within 400 years after he comes, they're going to be revealed. He's going to be revealed, and those with him, people are going to rejoice. Let's see what happened after this. Go ahead.
After these years shall my son Christ die.
Oh, so after he going to come and be here for 400 years and then die? Well, that don't. And not only does it not match anybody living in that time, because nobody don't live no 400 years no more for a while now, but it doesn't match what we read about Christ in the New Testament either. But it gets even stranger than this. Start 29 over.
After these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life.
So after 400 years, everybody's going to die then, right? All men that have life, and Christ came. It's been 2,000 years, right? I believe 400 goes into that about 5 times. And everybody's still here. And he's even coming back. So we're going to finish it out. Go ahead.
And the word shall be turned into the old silence 7 days, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain.
So it's clear. Nobody's going to remain. Now we could continue to read and see what's going on, but why? Because we're reading Second Esdras, and we're seeing this is clearly a false prophet, or at least a false prophecy. Maybe he didn't write this, and somebody else wrote it and put it in there, so we won't call Second Esdras a false prophet, but we'll say this definitely would be a false prophecy because it didn't happen. No time, no matter what you say, if you say that's not what it means, fine. At no time, from the first time that Christ ever came to the earth until the time he come back, at no time will all men die after 400 years. So we're going to move on now. So we're going to get your eastward together. We're going to see why I said that. I just want to throw that out there because we're going to go into Second Esdras later on, and we're going to see why we went here from the beginning. As a matter of fact, I almost want to just go on and get it out of the way now. Yes, I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to get Second Esdras 13. I'm sorry. Let's go up here. I have to scroll up. Let me make sure we got it. Second Esdras 13. And where we're going? 39? All right. Let's go ahead and get it. This is one of the passages that they read to determine the reason for coming up with the 12 tribe chart. Not the location for the people, but this is all a part of the prophecy and things like that. Go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hoshea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captives.
Go ahead.
And he carried them under the waters.
Over. Yeah, that's old English. Don't worry about that. That's all right.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they unto another land.
So, pause right here. This is a prophecy, or kind of not even really a prophecy, kind of a recap of what happened. So what he's telling them is these 10 tribes, which we can go to 2 Kings and see, they were taken out of the land, and they were taken captive by the Assyrian captivity. And so that's the mentioning of what we're talking about here today. But he said that they were going to be taken somewhere, which we see in 2 Kings. That part adds up, but it doesn't tell us much more when we read it from the just the Bible. I say just the Bible, just separating the second Esdras right now. So just making sure we on the same page. Verse 41.
But they who took this counsel against themselves, that they would lead the multitude of the heathen.
So they was leave. They was gonna leave the heathens, right? That's what they said. They took counsel together and said, "Look, we're getting out of here. Go ahead."
And go forth unto the further country, where never mankind dwelt.
So that's got to be the America and all these other islands and things like that. That's what they're telling you. That's what they're teaching you. They're telling you, hey, we read in the Apocrypha, and what they said was they was going to come together and leave and break away, and they was going to go somewhere else where nobody else dwelled before. And this was called the hidden land. And when you look up the word Asareth, that's what it means, hidden land. The definition, well, I'm just going to get it out of the Jewish encyclopedia first. It says, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man. Sound like we're talking about the same thing that we just read, right? In which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration. It almost sounds like they're going to be together though, right? But on this chart, they're scattered all over the place. So it still don't add up. It still doesn't add up. So what we're reading and what we're seeing is two different things. This is why you can't go by what man is saying, because we already got a false prophecy out of this same book. And now they're using this book to say they're going to dwell together somewhere far that no man has ever dwelt. And this is called, that region was called Asareth. Where you stop at? All right, let's go ahead.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
So we never kept our statues in our own land? Wasn't that the first thing that we did? We got the statues, and so, the argument, well, they would never keep them. They kept messing up. We did keep them from time to time. We kept them under Josiah. We kept them over, I think we kept them under David too, at least for a while. So, I don't know. I'm just combating it. Go ahead.
And they entered until Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So what river did they go into? Euphrates River, right? Go ahead.
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the flood, that they were passed over.
Go ahead. One more.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asareth.
So they went and took the Euphrates, right? And it led them to some country. And when they got there, they went through that country, and that's where they was at. It took them a year and a half. Now, some kind of way that turned into the islands, that turned into North and South America. How? It said they went into the Euphrates. The Euphrates River. Let's pull this up. Let's get that one. All right, so what's the question we got?
Where does the Euphrates River start and end?
All right, let's read it.
The Euphrates begins in the
Armenian
highlands of eastern Turkey.
So it's going to start in Turkey. Go ahead.
Where the Karasu River and the Marat River join.
So, go ahead, keep going. We'll finish it out.
The river runs through the Taurus Mountains, then across Syria and Iraq, before emptying onto the Persian Gulf.
So it starts where? Turkey, right? And where does it empty out at? So somewhere between there, on maybe the other side, that is where they had to get off at, according to, if we gonna go by second Esdras. It still wouldn't have led us to the eastern or the western world. And that's what we're not understanding. And we're gonna see how we know that if they got in there, if we're going by second Esdras, because I ain't really going by second Esdras, but today I am, for the sake of their argument. If they went by that, that means they got off somewhere between Turkey and where? What was the other place? Where did it empty out at? The Persian Gulf, right? Somewhere over there. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get to the eastward now. That's what we need, because we got to get some scriptures. We're going to get 1 Peter 1 and 1, because everything we just read was before Christ came, right? We're talking about the Assyrian captivity. So we're talking about from the beginning of Daniel's time, right? Nebuchadnezzar and all that, or at least right before then. So if we're talking about that, we're not talking about after Christ died and now all of a sudden these people were taken to these other places, because this book was written, whether you believe in the Apocrypha or not, before Christ's time. So let's see, can we find out where these people might have ended up? Let's get 1 Peter 1 and 1.
Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the strangers scattered through Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia.
Nice, so I got you reading today. All right. Because I can go back, I get to look good. That's Galatia, Cappadocia.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get the second verse. That's what we're here for.
Elect according to the foreknowledge of God the Father, through the sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Jesus Christ. Grace unto you, and peace be multiplied.
Okay, peace be multiplied, grace unto you. What we here for? We are here for the first verse. Do y'all know why? Read it one more time. Slow it down. Let's make it just a little louder, just a little bit more volume. Let's read it one more time.
Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the strangers.
To who?
To the strangers.
To who?
To the strangers.
Where they at? Go ahead.
Scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia.
So these are the new lands that it was talking about. Because at that time, we weren't going way out into those places. Our land was the land of Israel or the land of Canaan, right? And before that, we was in Egypt when we got there. But these people, whoever these strangers are, they were scattered, right? To these places. And Peter went there. Do y'all know that Peter was sent to, and Peter and the disciples were sent to go talk to who? The lost what?
The lost Israelites?
The lost children of the house of Israel, right? And Paul talked to some of them, but he went to the Gentiles, right? So that's the other reason I got you. So I got you. So he went to the Gentiles, right? So whenever we're reading Peter and he's talking to these scattered people, these must have been Israelites, because it says elect according to the foreknowledge of God. But we're not going to stop there. Let's get James. We're going to get James 1 and James 1 and 1. You see how easy it is? We didn't have to do no whole lot of reading just to show where these people might have been.
James, a servant of God.
Oh, I thought you were calling it out. I said you didn't say 1 and 1. It threw me off. But it started with James. I'm about to say, wait now. James 1 and 1. Go ahead.
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes.
To who?
To the 12 tribes.
To who?
To the 12 tribes.
How? If they in all these other places, if they are in North America, South America, and Argentina, and Cuba, and they hadn't went there yet. Well, show me in the scriptures where it said they was going there or where they went, because so far what you used showed that they went to a land which they never been to before, and we're reading now. It says to the 12 tribes. So at the time, even though they was already scattered, because we read that in 2nd Esdras that the 10 tribes was taken out. We backed that up with 2 Kings 17. The 10 tribes was taken out. That's the northern kingdom. The southern kingdom was left there. And now they got you believing the northern kingdom makes up most of this chart that we went over, because they've been scattered all over the world. But we see where they were scattered at. They were scattered somewhere close by where James and Peter and Paul and the rest of them were still able to go. One more time from the top.
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting.
All right, so at this point, I think it's pretty clear we're going to move forward. Let's get Isaiah 11 and 11. Let's do that. Yep. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria.
From where?
Assyria.
Are we in Assyria now? So it ain't talking about us. We are the so-called people on the tribe that would be the North American blacks. So we would be the tribe of Judah. But for some reason, wherever Assyria is, it's going to be somebody there in which he's going to recover. But I thought they was all scattered in all these other places all over the western part of the world. And that's a shame. The map until recent days didn't even cover this originally. I know because I was in truth then. I was teaching it. We didn't have this on there. However, where's Assyria at? That's Middle East, right? That's between Turkey and that Persian Gulf, ain't it, that we read about. That's where Assyria is at. Some kind of way. Go ahead. Which shall be left. Start here.
Which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
That's another place over there, right? Go ahead.
And from Pathros.
Another place.
And from Cush.
Okay, you know what? I think I'm sold, but go ahead and finish it.
And from Elam. And from Shinar. And from Hamath. And from the islands of the sea.
And from the islands of the sea. And guess what? They even going to try to say, give you that so they can use Puerto Rico and Cuba and Haiti and say, well, that's the islands of the sea. No, because these people went together. Remember? That's what y'all was teaching. And that's what the scriptures say. Go ahead, verse 12.
And he shall set up a sign. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
So where is he getting Judah from?
The four corners of the earth.
One more time. Where is he getting Judah from?
The four corners.
It's all good.
Corners of the earth.
Four corners, right? Why is Judah on the map as the North American blacks if he getting us from the four corners of the earth? And Judah is made up of what? It's the southern kingdom. Y'all remember who the southern kingdom was?
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Right. So if Benjamin is just Haiti, just the Jamaicans in Jamaica, right? Because it makes sense that Jamaicans are in Jamaica. So I don't know why I said that. But if the Benjamites are Jamaicans and the Levites are Haitians, that's two small islands, and it just said the four corners of the earth. Where are the rest of them? Well, that's the main place. Well, that means that's where most of them are at. So why is it saying four corners? No different than saying the Jews, the real Jews, the tribe of Judah, the so-called black man. He's in North America, but he's also scattered in the four corners of the earth. So if you're not going to cover the four corners for the southern kingdom, and you're not going to cover the Middle East stretching through Africa for the northern kingdom, what is the purpose of the chart then? It makes no sense. So what they'll tell you is, well, the reason that they look like that is because through history, the Spaniards went down and they conquered these places and they took them over. And the reason most of them are lighter complexion is because they raped them. And if that's the case, then they would not be Israelites no more if they're all descendants of the oppressor, the Spaniards, right? So either way, it's still not adding up. It's no need for a chart, especially when he says don't strive in genealogy. When he get back, he's going to separate the tares from the wheats. Y'all remember reading about that? The tares from the wheats, right? So we're going to keep it moving. Let's get Genesis 49 and 1. Genesis chapter 49 and 1. This is one of the things that they use. And when they use this, it gets ridiculous. But this is what they use to show that the chart is accurate today. Go ahead.
And Jacob called unto his sons, and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
So they made the last days, not our last days, because our last days haven't happened. They made the last days, I guess, when the slave ships came, some kind of way that's the last days. But we're going to see he's talking to who? Who is he talking to? Is he talking to us? Who is he talking to?
His sons.
His sons, right? All right, so their last days, maybe we should consider that. Go ahead.
Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto your father, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power.
All right, so we're talking about Reuben right now. That would be, I believe, your Seminole Indians. Go ahead.
Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch.
Okay, so don't move it up here. So what he's saying is, Reuben, you unstable. And because you did that sin, you're going to get punished. Some kind of way, that's in the lesson for knowing that Reuben is a Seminole Indian. Did y'all get that? Did y'all get anything about North American Indian, Seminole, anything? But because he's unstable, I don't know. Keep reading, verse 5.
Simon and Levi.
Simeon.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation.
So Simeon and Levi, that would be who? According to the tribe. According to the chart. The Haitians and who was Simeon? I can't remember. Like I said, it's been a long time since I believed this, but we got to look it up. So
The
Dominicans. There we go. So the Dominicans
and
and the Haitians. Let's go. This is what they say, because they dwell together, and instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Go ahead.
O my soul, come not thou unto their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor. Be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall.
So is this when their sister was taken advantage of and they went and got some vengeance? Does this got anything to do with today? So the instruments of cruelty would be in reference to what he just said, right? But for some reason, they say, well, the Dominicans and the Haitians, they do big time witchcraft and sorcery, and those are the instruments of cruelty that we're talking about here. Now, I can't understand that, but even if that was the case, some kind of way they made that the case, so we're going with it. Even if that was the case, instruments of cruelty, it's talking about witchcraft and things like that. Even though when you look it up, I'm looking at it now just to make sure. It doesn't say anything like that. Even if that was the case, we're going to see how it doesn't line up. It does not line up. Go ahead, read verse 7.
Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
So he said, I'm going to divide y'all in Jacob. I'm going to split y'all up. But I'm going to scatter you in Israel. So it sounds like they're going to be divided and scattered up, right? How are they together then? Well, Simeon and Levi, they dwell together. What he said he was going to do?
Divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
It's the exact opposite. Let's continue. Verse 8.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Now they say, Judah, that's the one. This is how we know the North American blacks are the tribe of Judah, because it says Judah is the one that the brothers gonna praise. All the other tribes look up to us in America. They all talking about us. You know how blasphemous that is, because it ain't talking about us when it says we the one It's going to be praised. The tribe of Judah is praised because who came through it?
Jesus.
Christ. That's all it's talking about. If you don't believe it, let's continue.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
They use that to say we live right here with the oppressor, like everybody else don't live with their oppressor. Go ahead, verse 10.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
That's kingship. Are we kings now? So we talking about Christ. Well, go ahead.
Nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Who gave the laws? Christ, right? Come on.
Until Shiloh comes.
Who is Shiloh?
Christ.
Go ahead.
And unto him shall the gathering of the people.
Who's
be.
gathering the people?
Christ.
But for some reason, this is showing to these people that believe in this chart that we're talking about the North American black man today and how he is the one that the other tribes look up to and praise. So that's what this is talking about. And if you was to read verse 11 about binding his foal unto the vine, you could and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. I know you was ready to read that. If we was to read that and go to the New Testament and show that exact same thing happening with Christ, it really should put this whole thing out. But that was 1 through 10, right? Let's drop down to verse 13 and 14.
Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
Where is Zebulun going to dwell?
At the haven of the sea.
And who is Zebulun on the chart?
Zebulun is
Guatemala and Panama. And they talk about the Panamanian ship haven is crazy. That's where most of the oil and this and that is traded. Come on. We're going to show it.
Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his borders shall be unto Zidon.
Hey, where is Zebulun going to be bordered to?
Zidon.
One more time, y'all. Where is Zebulun going to be bordered to?
Zidon.
Okay, so now, so that I'm not saying this, so that I'm not making this up, because wherever Zebulun is, they have to be bordered to wherever Zidon is, Zebulun. So, whenever we look at the Guatemalans and the Panamanians today, we do not see them bordered against anything called Zebulun, right? So, let's look and see where Zebulun is.
No, it said Zidon.
Zidon, my fault.
I was confused.
That's my bad. Zidon. So, do you see what Zidon is? Zidon later on became pronounced Sidon with an S. Same thing, Zidon, Sidon.
It says Lebanon.
And it says where?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Where is Lebanon at? That's Middle East. And it's on the coast, and it's a ship haven, right? Exactly what it said. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me he told Zebulun that you're going to be bordered to Zidon, which is called, also pronounced Sidon. And we see that that's in Lebanon, what's called Lebanon today, on the coast, right? Now think for just a second. What was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their sons? What was promised to them? The land, right? The land of Israel, right?
Right.
And when they got to the land of Israel, they received an inheritance, right? What was their inheritance? Different what? Different lambs, right? And when you look at the land that Zebulun got when he got his promise or his inheritance, it bordered Sidon. And this is all in the Bible. I just made this a short lesson. This is all in the Bible. You can look on Google. I just want to make stuff easy for people. You can look on Google and see where Zidon is, and you can see it has nothing to do with Panama or Guatemala or anywhere else over there. But it's still in the Middle East. You know why? Because We're in Genesis 49, and he's telling you, I'm going to give you, go back to Genesis. He's telling you, I'm going to give you these things, right? Go back to the first verse. Scroll to the top. When Jacob called together his sons and gathered them together, he said, I'm going to let you know what's going to happen to y'all in the last days, right? And then he starts telling each one of them what's going on. Do y'all know that this was a normal thing in the Bible? When somebody was about to die, when the father was about to die, he called his sons together and would tell them what they're going to get in their time. Their time. When else can we read this? Jacob and Esau, right? They went to Isaac, didn't they? And Isaac told each one of them what would befall them. And these same people use that wrong because they think that that's talking about today. When he said Esau was going to get the fatness of the earth. And he did in Deuteronomy. However, they think it's today. You got to be able to understand when the Bible is talking about today and when it's not. When the Bible talks about Christ coming back, that hasn't happened yet, has it? So that's not today. That's the future. It's really just that easy. But as we read through Jacob blessing his sons, why do we think that this applies to us? And we can look and see them get these things, right? Now, that's pretty much the last one on here, but I know I'm doing excellent with my time. So guess what we're getting ready to do? We're going back to Genesis 49. Genesis 49, but we're gonna read just a little bit more because we got 14 to get and 15. Let's get it. No, 14, just 14. You got 13, all right, let's get 14. We got Issachar.
Issachar is a strong ass, couching down between two burdens.
You know you can say donkey, but it's all right. It's all right. We know when to cut the camera now. All right, so Issachar is a strong donkey, but as he called it, as the Bible called it. Y'all see what it say, right? Couching down between two burdens. So whoever Issachar is, wherever he is, according to the chart that they teach, this is how we identify him. He's going to be between two burdens, crouching down, right? Mm-hmm. And they say that Issachar are your Mexicans. And this gets crazy. And they say that the Mexicans, because they work so hard, this is how we know that it's them, because he's a strong donkey between two burdens. And what do you use a donkey for? Hard work, right? And this is what the Mexicans do, right? So, and I promise you, I'm not making none of this up. So they teaching this. And then they say, because that bothered me, because I said, well, y'all really feel like the Mexicans, and it's no disrespect to them or anyone, just being honest. Y'all think that they worked harder than the slaves that came over here and built the whole country? Y'all, but anyway, then they say, yeah, see, if you go and you look at the bumper sticker for Mexico, it's actually a donkey in between two burdens. He's pulling something and pushing something. And that's when I knew. I know we're not basing who these people are today on bumper stickers. This gotta be crazy. And it gotta stop. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. Yeah, when you look at the bumper sticker for Mexico, you see a donkey between two burdens, so that must fulfill prophecy. I don't get it. I don't know. Let's we got a little time, so we're gonna read just a little bit more Genesis 49. Let's pick it up at verse 19.
Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
A troop shall overcome them. So they said that's the North American Indians because they were overcame by the North American troop. That's what it said. This said nothing about North America. You know how many people are considered troops all over the world where Gad could have been taken over? And how do you say that makes Gad the North American Indians, but the Seminole Indians, which are in the same country where Gad was taken over, is a different set of people? How can you differentiate? We all came from the same bloodline, so I'm pretty sure we look the same. You're not looking at them like that and seeing a difference. I don't know. It gets crazy. So scroll down a little bit more. Okay. So let's get verse 27. I'll just get my favorite ones now that I'm picking a little bit.
The
Verse
blessing,
27.
the blessings of thy
Oh.
father.
Where you at? Verse 27.
Benjamin shall raven as a wolf.
Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. And Benjamin are your Jamaicans, right? That's what they say according to the chart. And it says he shall raven or raven as a wolf because a wolf is described as ravenous. Go ahead.
In the morning he shall devour the prey. At the night he shall divide the spoil.
They said this is how we know that the Benjamites are the Jamaicans. They say when they was on ships, they came together and they overtook the slave master on the ship and turned it back around. And that's them devouring the prey in the morning and dividing the spoil at night. Well, how did they still end up in Jamaica? Where did they go? They went right back to where they were captured? Obviously. And it gets wilder because they say the reason he's considered a ravenous wolf is because the Jamaicans like to howl at the moon, and that's what wolves do. I said, you got to be kidding me. So because y'all saying these people howl at the moon and wolves howl at the moon, this has to be talking about them. How did they get to? I thought they turned the ship around. Why are they over there howling at the moon? Where did they go? So we know that this was for their people at that time, because when you continue to read verse 28.
All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it that their father spake unto them, and blessed them, every one according to his blessing he blessed them.
So he gave everybody their blessing because he was getting ready to die, and that is what everyone in the Bible does as far as our people, as far as the Israelites. And when did they get their blessing? When they got to Israel, the land of milk and honey, the promised land. That was their blessing. You can read it. I will bless you with and your children with the land. He says it all throughout Genesis. They got to the land. He even told certain ones where you would be in the land. He told Asher where he would be. I think you're going to dip your foot in oil. And in Israel today, the land of Israel today, is probably the most oil-rich land in the world. Not Panama and all these other places. Israel, they fight over it still to this day because it's that plentiful. And then he said royal dainties and things like that, gold and stuff like that. All that's there. It's not in these other places. So once again, the people of the Israelite community that believe in the 12 tribe chart have been fooled. There's no biblical validity to prove anything that they're teaching on the chart. It's all propaganda that originated from somebody having a dream and a book that's got a false prophecy in it and private interpretation of whatever else they're getting out of it. So when we look at the 10 tribes that were taken away by the Assyrians, and scattered, we see in the New Testament, we read that they were scattered, but yet Peter and the disciples were able to go and send letters to them, and sometimes go and visit them, and then turn around and Paul went and did it and made it back, I think, in 7 days or something like that, or within a certain amount of days, a certain amount of days for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. He said, I got to get back for unleavened bread. But he went and talked to these people, some of these people. Now you telling me you can go to North America, South America, or any of those islands in the western part of the world and make it back within just a few days all the way to Israel with no plane? Not at all. Not at all. We're talking weeks, if not months, in some instances. So we know it don't make sense. We know it don't add up. I just had to get this one out of the way. Next week, hopefully, we'll be back to regular scheduled programming, which is talking about You know, we like to try to focus on repentance, salvation, and the kingdom and things like that. I think I do got one more to dispel. I'm just not sure if I'm gonna do it, but that's gonna be who is Esau, because everybody say that Esau is the so-called white man, the oppressor, the slave master. That's Esau, and the Bible definitely does not support that. We really could probably kill that right now in two scriptures, but we're not gonna do it. Hold on, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. That's the lesson. The 12 tribe chart. Appreciate everybody's time. Continue to like, share, subscribe. And if you got any questions or disputations, you can put it on the chat, which is through the link at the bottom of the video. Or, of course, you can put it in the comments. Peace and blessings. We are done.